Um, fuck. This is hard. This is
Yeah,
already much harder.
podcasting is
We
hard,
were
man.
literally just talking about this. I'm like, what we do, and I was like, funny banter, and that was the whole plan.
And then
Anyway,
couldn't come up with any funny band.
so anyway, this is gonna be the first episode of some unnamed podcast because who comes up with the name of their podcast before making the podcast? Am I right?
Losers, apparently.
So I'm Brian,
I'm Ellis.
and we're to talk about random shit whatever we're really feeling.
I mean, today we're going to talk about Star Wars,
Oh,
specifically Rogue One.
oh my god! I
What?
didn't even have to segue into it.
Yeah,
Star Wars is something that we both talk about, in a decent amount.
we both come from very different, like, Star Wars backgrounds.
Yeah, that's very true. My parents are a little bit younger than yours, so they grew up with Star Wars, and that kind of '80s era of movies that were like younger kids. So there's of course that like nostalgia and whatnot. And your parents are a bit older,
Yeah.
like your dad's a
Yeah. My dad's a Star Trek guy,
yeah
so I've seen all the movies.
yeah.
I actually haven't seen the original trilogy in a long time. Not a
Uh,
long time, but a while.
but yeah, I mean, but they're not like the most like complex and confusing.
No,
I
pretty
mean,
straightforward.
you can still broad strokes that bitch out. Anyway,
Yeah.
so so I'm definitely a lot more. I definitely enjoy them a lot more, and that's most likely just been pushed on by my parents and whatnot. Because I mean, I grew up watching the original trilogy and prequel. When I was little, I was like, oh, these are fucking shit, just
Yeah.
fucking clone troopers, and we're not gonna talk about prequels because everyone hates them, and that's dumb. But we were talking about it, and we talked a whole bunch about when the Last Jedi came out. Um, but that seemed to be
Mixed feelings.
a shitstorm would be the word.
Yeah.
The words I would use. Certainly be a shitstorm around it. So we thought we'd avoid that a little bit, and instead watch Rogue One and talk
Yeah.
about our feelings about it.
Which we both had very mixed feelings about
Yeah.
Rogue One when we first saw it.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good the first time I watched it.
I think it's dumb.
I thought it was like a six out of 10 movie. You know, it's pretty good, not great, but and then you thought,
I think it's like the most mediocre movie ever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I saw it when it came out, like a year ago, year and some change.
Yeah,
I know.
I think we both saw it around the same time.
Yeah. So we rewatched it last night.
Doing the shrug right now.
Lots of shrugging.
Yeah. It was on second watch. I personally my viewpoint sort of changed. It changed a little bit at least. The first time I threw it, I liked it, and I thought that there are definitely places it could improve, but I thought I liked it compared to the other Star Wars movies.
So is
And
that like
I liked what it was heading towards.
is that like sequels or original trilogy,
Um.
or is it prequels?
Well, no. Okay.
The
So
hidden gem.
I do like the original trilogy more, or I did like the original trilogy more than I liked Rogue One. The thing was, I thought that Rogue One was sort of is trying to get that different aspect of the Star Wars universe, and that's something I really wanted. I wanted to cover something different, a smaller story. I really wanted something that would give a little bit more world building and maybe be set in Imperial society or that kind of thing. And I was hoping that Rogue One would shift more in that direction. It kind of did. It was it was a little bit more gritty, a little bit more like in that area, but it did have a few downfalls.
Just a few. So when I originally watched it in theaters, I was bored out of my mind, and I was like, Jesus, this movie's so long. It's like what, like 2 hours and 40 minutes, 2 hours and.
Well, we can
look it up. Yeah,
look it up
it's
right
long
here.
as hell though. Like, good lord.
I think it's like around 2 hours and 20 minutes.
It's like 2.5 hours. It's very long, and I
Rogue One.
really don't. I just don't care.
Well, okay. I think
So
the
my
problem is that they didn't. Yeah, it's 2 hours 15.
yeah, that's long. So like, okay, right. So my original viewing of it, I was very bored. I didn't care, and so I was like, when is it going to end? I kind of got like over it at a point. Ooh. okay, I'm not gonna burp with this. But so like at first I definitely thought it was like just boring, and so before rewatching it, I guess I probably had a very negative like stigma. I was already like
Yeah,
the same idea, like
going into it thinking it was going to be
yeah,
bad.
yeah. If you're like a little kid, it's like I don't like broccoli, and then your parents are like, no, try it, and you're like, no, before you try it. You know, it's that idea that just the
Yeah.
kind of manipulating your own mind to put yourself in a mindset of just, oh well, I'm not gonna like
Yeah.
this, and not being open minded. So I was trying to be open minded, while at the same time just tearing into it for things I just thought was just dumb. I think the major issue with it is that it tries too much in too short of a time, uh, and I'm complaining about runtime.
Yeah.
But so much shit in that movie, and so because of that, you're not really able to have this like emotional connection that the movie is trying to have you experience. So it's
Yeah.
very much so trying to make you care so much, and I'm not just saying like in the end when everyone's dying, you're like, oh no, that's the cargo pilot guy.
Yeah.
He blew up. Oh no, like like it's less of like it's not like I don't care when they die, but it's like I notice they're trying to do things that make you care. You
It
just
doesn't
don't
really work.
you just don't care. So like
Yeah.
you're in the so like in the earlier bit of the movie, they're in like the mining town, right? They're looking for the cargo pilots.
Jeddah.
Yeah, they're in Jeddah. Terrible names. And so they're going through there and whatever, and the rebels pull off some jihadi attack on the stormtroopers.
Oh yeah, with the tank.
Yeah, yeah. And so you see like the little girl crying in the street, and Jin, the protagonist, for anyone who forgot their names because they're
I mean, you remember Jin.
forgettable characters. But the main character, Jin, you see her, she like runs out into the street, and the guy's like, Jin, no! And she runs out to save the small child, even though that entire town gets fucking glassed
Obliterated.
in like 2 scenes.
Well, okay, you can't.
Yeah,
like,
no.
The point is that her actions were, she was trying. She's selfless, and she wants to save. She wants to save people.
Even though she's a criminal that was set free and then
Okay.
caught.
But what do we really know about her? We barely learn anything about her criminal past.
Yeah, so we know nothing about anyone.
Yeah.
So what do you care? So like it's an obvious moment when they're trying to pull at your heartstrings. Oh, look at Jen. She saves a little crying baby. Yes, she's a good character. You should care. But like, you don't have any time to develop it. So like, I feel like the big issues there is like, and then when she meets with, names are hard. The black guy in the cool suit.
Oh, I actually don't know the name. I don't know his name.
Can you just like look up like a roster of names?
Rogue One. I guess we could do cast or we could do characters. Here we go.
Yeah, characters.
So
Oh,
Rogue One characters. So just
wow,
continue
wow,
while you're
it's
looking
like
it
it's
up.
like the seventh looked up one. But like
Saw Gerrera.
so yeah. So when she's having an interaction with him and she's like, "Oh, you left me for dead. You can't. But you left me when I was 16. Yada yada." And like that's supposed to be emotional. And then she sees the hologram from her father, and again, very emotional. She starts crying, but you don't care. And so like I feel like they wanted to have more of a relationship there between Jin and Saw.
But they just didn't have time to develop it.
Yeah, so like I think you mentioned that you would preferred like 2 movies in a Rogue One, even though
Yeah,
Rogue One,
I wouldn't have minded that.
yeah, even though Rogue One, like if there was no Star Wars, wouldn't be able to stand separate as a movie.
Yeah.
because people are like nothing happened to the Last Jedi, but Rogue One's like, hey, there's Death Star plans.
Well, I mean, I
got
granted it. Okay, 2 things. I think the story by itself, if you just examine the broad strokes, you know, you have a girl who's been in and out of prison. Her father is this, mastermind weapons maker, and he's being manipulated by a secret government. And then she has to go and try and rescue him, but he ends up getting killed, and then they have to figure out the flaw that he built into a weapon. I think that plot by itself, just those broad strokes is good.
Yeah.
The basic structure of the movie is good.
Yeah.
The problem is how they filled in the gaps. And so the second thing, one of the things I noticed in the movie is it can pretty much be split into 2 acts, right? So you have the beginning act, which is when Jin originally gets she gets in with the rebels, and then she goes out and she ends up meeting with Saw Gerrera. And then after that is when she sort of is siding with the rebels. Well, actually, it's the act sort of ends when her father dies, and that's about halfway through the movie, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And then the second act is sort of she is with the rebels now, and now they're going to get the plans and to fight.
Yeah.
And I think the problem was that they tried to shoehorn in, because in the second half they do no characterization at all. Like after the point where her father dies, like there's no characterization, there's no nothing. So they had to shoehorn in all of the character development for Saw, for Jin, for the
Chirrut and Baze.
There you go.
I tell you what, if you know who Chirrut and Baze are, you get bonus point. You get coffee points because
Yeah.
if someone said that Chirrut's the guy with the stick, the blind guy, the Force is with me and I'm with the Force. And Baze is his like I want to say caretaker
Sidekick.
friend
Yeah.
with the LMG, which like every stormtrooper should have because it's like super badass stormtroopers.
Well, I mean, like saying that, why doesn't everybody in the U.S. military carry around an LMG?
Because it's impractical.
There you go.
But they made a giant lightsaber. That's all the Death Star is. Because like
What?
Getting totally sidetracked. No. All the Death Star is they're getting the
giant lightsaber.
Yeah, they're getting the
Kyber crystals?
Yeah.
How do you not know that?
I'm bad with names. So they're getting the Kyber crystals, and that's what powers the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Death Star's just a giant.
powers the Death Star.
Yeah, it's just a giant lightsaber. I can just imagine her father, Galen Erso, being just like, yeah, the lightsaber, but like bigger, and you like put people in it and shit. You know what I mean? Moon. So like, yeah, but like you don't. They're enjoyable enough characters. So like, and their banter and whatnot's very good. You know, so like there's the scene.
The robot is.
Oh, Kay is by far my
Yeah.
favorite character because he's
K2SO.
he's a comedic relief,
Yeah.
but he also has an arc, you know, and he's
Well, I mean, what is his arc?
well, he goes from distrusting Jin, right, and that relationship between Jin and him. He's like, oh, you're just some scummy criminal, man, Bane. And I give him a Bane voice. But he's like, and she's like, oh, I won't trust you with a gun. But like at the end, she's like, he is a gun. And Kay's like, oh, maybe I was wrong about you.
Yeah.
We are friends. I'm a ribbit. And then he gets murked.
Then he dies.
Yeah.
Spoilers, I
Like
guess.
everyone dies. Oh, are
Yeah,
we?
we've already crossed that line.
Are we
but
making a spoiler?
spoilers.
Are we? Do we have to tell people that it's?
Probably whatever
For a movie that's been out?
I mean, yeah,
Do we have to
it came out in what 2015.
Do we have to talk about?
2016.
Do we have to talk about spoilers for the original trilogy? Do we?
Yes, actually
You guys
though.
not seen
yeah.
those?
Everybody, everybody's trying to hide themselves from the OG spoilers.
So yeah, like, and like those characters are like interesting enough, and then some of them just fall completely flat for me. I think that's the movie's biggest issue is that you just don't care about the characters, right?
Yeah, well, with Saw and with Galen, yet there's just not enough time. Like
Saw and Galen. Saw is the black guy in cool armor, and Galen's her father. For everyone
Yes.
who can't follow these names because I can't. I had to check the character sheet.
I mean, how long was that last battle scene? How long was the scene where they go to the planet where the Death Star plans are kept, and it lasts until the end of the movie when everything explodes and they die.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Because that scene was 20 minutes long, right?
That's gonna be like 40 minutes. There's so much shit that happened then. They you know, they sneak onto the planet and then they're running around amok, setting up charges and shit and trying to bait out the stormtroopers and yada yada, and then like
Yeah.
going to the tower and at the same time you're watching the psoo, 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 you know, the whole full battle and whatnot. So I see what, like 3-4 parts.
Yeah, so there's
Or,
4
like-
parts. It's around 20 minutes.
I thought it was longer. It felt longer. It was just
You know what? Maybe it is. Because
just-
they're
it's
probably
just-
starting the battle like halfway
Yeah.
through, so it's probably
Yeah,
like
but when-
25
yeah,
minutes.
it's just destruction porn. Let's,
Yeah. Well, part of it is parts of it are cool. Like when they have to climb up the thing to get the disk drive. That's sort of interesting. But they could have cut that down and just cut down the second act of the movie
Yeah.
and put some more impactful things, gave a little bit more background for Jin, so that you actually cared about what she's doing and who she becomes. And it would also sort of, because of course she's just distrustful of the rebels
Mm-hmm.
throughout the movie, and we get a little taste of that because when she's talking to Saw, who's the armor guy,
Mm-hmm.
for all of you who still can't remember, who's the armor guy, they talk about how he abandoned her, so she like distrusts the rebel alliance. And if they had just given a little bit more detail, instead of starting with her in a cell, start with her, something happens, with that, give that detail.
Yeah,
it
give
would have
that
been much
relationship
better.
time to build and whatnot.
Yeah.
And as they like survive, and she's a part of this like extremist group, because that builds her distrust for the rebels.
Yeah.
Because it's all really built off of Saw, because he abandons her, and then she's just like, well, fuck me, I guess.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to drop those?
Yes.
Am I? Okay, I got scared. um, but so like, yeah, it's just it's a really big tear, So like, if they split this into two movies, but following Jin, right? So we're following her and her relationship with Saw, right? He finds her, and he's like training her to be a rebel, and maybe you have some more like Darth Vader porn of him like just like you know what I'm saying? Because like there's talks of him being this badass and just like wipes out shit all the time. Maybe there's like I know there's some talks of like some other Jedis went hiding, like
Yeah.
maybe like find one and like it's whatever
Yeah,
and like
but
and then
I feel like
Vader
that
like
would
comes
be-
in and just like fuck
Kills.
and like kind of developed her more and kind of kept her around, and maybe
Yeah.
introduced like a character or two. But like the movie Rogue One, it's like you got Jin, main character dude who I don't know who his name is. He's not even on the list of characters.
You mean the flight captain? Yeah, Cassian.
Cassian, which is my least favorite character in the movie. And then you've got
He's actually the one who has like the most developed arc.
yeah, he's just so annoying. I feel like
I don't think he was annoying.
I just think he 180s. He's like
Uh,
oh, I'm gonna kill your father, and then
Yeah.
he's like I can't do it, and then he's like I'm ready to follow you to death, and he's
Yeah.
like oh you got that message from your father, but how can we trust you? And he like doesn't kill her father, and then he's like okay, why not? Like there is no like actual trust put forth in a sense, and
Yeah.
he's just kind of like maybe I'm acting like a dick, and like very much so like 180s, and he's like I'm ready to fucking die on these beaches with you. It's like whoa, where did this come from? So like I hate his character. He's super annoying in the beginning. He can't kill her father, but like the guy with the arm that can't climb, like right in the
Yeah.
beginning, gets
Yeah, I was
information.
gonna say is a pretty big shift.
Yeah,
within
he
a
doesn't even
short period of
hesitate.
time.
The guy's like, how
Yeah,
am
he
I to
just
climb out of
shoots
here? And it's, pew, and like
Yeah, yeah. In the beginning of the movie, he just like shoots someone.
He's
in
so
informant, I
hateable.
guess.
He's so hateable. And I was saying,
Well, he's supposed to get less hateable over time.
yeah, but
he
it's
just
so
sort of
quick. It
doesn't.
just flips a switch.
Yeah.
He's my least favorite character by far, and he's the second main character. He's the second protagonist.
Yeah.
And like I get like having a gray area hero is of course like interesting instead of like a Mary Jane.
Yeah.
No wrongdoer, But I said to him, I was like, what is this, Suicide Squad? The defector cargo, the thief, the murderer. We descended the villains. This'll make a good movie. I hate the characters, and it pulls it back for me. And like the robot's hilarious,
Yeah, he's cute.
He's a great
I like him.
character, and he's like oh no, like back on
Jeddah?
I was gonna
It's
say
not that hard. It's one syllable.
I was gonna say
Extra
Jafar.
two
I was
syllables.
gonna say Jafar, like from like Aladdin.
What?
Jafar.
I've never seen Aladdin, so.
Anyway, but like like after that like fight scene, he comes by and Jin like shoots one of the Imperial droids, and he's like, oh, that was you knew that it wasn't me, right? And she's like, oh yeah, I think so, and then he's like, oh no, I'm taking these prisoners, and the stormtroopers like. I'm like, where yada yada, we'll take them from here. And he's like, I got them this far. Like, it's very funny.
Yeah.
And it's very, lighthearted, and like the dead robot is a favorite character, because I felt more emotionally attached to this inanimate
Yeah.
object than I did
I
the
mean, he
actual
was
humans. Yeah, but like right. So when he goes down, like defending the door, he gets shot a whole bunch, and he's like, "I'm sealing you guys
Yeah,
in,"
it's classic.
you know. Yeah, it's very standard, but like he kills like so many stormtroopers before doing that, and it's very like like this is very creaky, and it's very just like this is my final act, But then you see Cassian,
The
sorry,
pilot.
no, that's not the pilot. Cassian's the main protagonist guy.
Yeah, he's a. Okay,
No,
okay.
there's the
he's a pilot.
There's the
no.
defector
Okay,
pilot.
okay. The defector pilot. Isn't Cassian also a pilot, or is he just like a rebel?
I think he's just a rebel.
Okay. Well,
Um,
whatever. Close enough. They're all pilots. They fly spaceships and stuff.
So Cassian, like when he gets like you think shot when they're climbing the tower, and he falls and hits the grate, and Jin's like, "Oh no!" And she's not even like climbing, like she's like watching him get shot at, and I'm like, and he's like, "Go climb!" And she's like stopping and like looking back and like you're coming, right? Like
Yeah.
And then like when he falls
And
and
then
hits
he makes it up.
yeah, he falls and hits the grating. It's supposed to bait you, being like, "Oh, he's dead," even though he like ex machina his back into it,
Yeah.
But like,
I feel like that's just like I mean that's just apropos for movies today.
yeah, but like he falls down
It's-
dead, and you feel nothing. You feel absolutely nothing. There's nothing. You don't care. You're like, "Yeah, well." But when Kay dies, you're like, "Oh no," and you're like kind of sad about it.
Well, I
Um,
think I think when he dies, you're supposed to feel sort of like a sense of because Jin, she keeps climbing and she should have. You're supposed to feel this sort of sense of duty.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to empathize with her and feel sort of a sense of duty. Like he was, even though he was my friend, the relationship was sort
Are
of
they
quickly
friends?
developed. Yeah, the relationship was sort of quickly developed. But even though he's her friend, she's abandoning him now, and it's for her duty so that she can help the rebels, and it's it's for the greater good. So I think you're supposed to sort of empathize with that rather than him, I guess. And then he just sort of shows up.
And then we'll hug together on the beach.
Yeah,
like a
at
deep
the very
impact
end.
kind of ending as we wait for the wave.
Yeah.
Um.
How do they get off the tower?
That's-
Yeah, because at the end of the movie, I was just thinking about that.
They're just on the beach.
Yeah, at the end of the movie,
They're
they get all the way down
they
the tower.
hold hands, and then they're like hugging, and it's like I hated you, and you were gonna kill my father, but then you
Yeah.
said I trusted you, and then we died together on this beach, Deep Impact style. You ever seen that, Deep Impact?
I mean, probably actually. It's a
There's
space
like
movie, right?
Yeah, there's like an asteroid, and then blow it up, but a chunk still hits the ocean.
Like Apollo 13. What's the one where he needs to stay behind on the asteroid to set off the explosion to split it up and
That's Deep Impact, I think.
Oh, that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he
Then
splits
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, he splits it into two pieces, or like there's splits off a bunch, and like there's one big piece, and that hits the ocean.
I don't think
our main
no.
character
'Cause they
reporter.
like left Bruce Willis on an asteroid. I think it's like
You think we need to change space adventure movies when defending the Earth from an asteroid?
What
What do you mean we're blowing our ship up? Well, the script calls for it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not all coming back, dude. I think it's called Deep Impact. I might be wrong.
Well, I think there are probably two.
I'll show you
There's
some-
probably
I'll show you.
multiple Earth almost dies from.
I'll show you Deep Impact.
No,
Throws
please
away. Yeah. So and then they're just like there, and you're like, okay, I guess. I don't know. It's just characters are weak, and you're just kind of like, you don't care. And then like, let's hang on the beach.
Yeah.
It's emotional, and then like all the other characters, like I swear to God, whoever I don't remember who directed it. Who directed it?
That would be
Gareth Edwards.
Gareth Edwards.
Yeah, so when Edwards is like, "Oh, we're already pushing like 2 hours," well, a grenade falls into the cargo. There goes your cargo pilot, which is the most empty character.
What?
So at the end, right when they start killing off every character,
Oh yeah,
right,
yeah.
and they throw it into like the bay of the ship, and he's using it to antenna and get that hot dongle in port action.
Yes.
And like even though he's like the most like empty character in the entire movie, all you know from him is just like he's a defector that's working with
Yeah, he
Jin's
just sort of
father,
dies.
and then he gets like hentai mind fucked by that like tentacle monster.
And then he's like fine 5 seconds later.
Yeah, you'll most likely lose your mind, and he's like sitting there in a cell, like, oh, it's just mind raped, you know. And then they're like, you're the pilot. He's like, I'm the pilot, and then he's just fine, you know.
Yeah, that's sort of annoying.
Even though like they could have like done some stuff around him, because he kind of has like a PTSD moment when he hears Black Guy do the breathy voice, and it sounds like Vader. You can tell he has some like PTSD. So like that's like interesting, but they're like, okay, quickly move on, you know.
Just sort
so
of a
like
side character.
yeah, and like they're just all side characters, you know. And
Well, I have to say the death scene with Baze and shit.
Guy with the stick.
What was the blind guy's name?
I don't fucking know.
God. What's his name? Crazy?
Chirrut?
It's either Chirrut or Curut.
Chirrut?
With him and Baze. That was not... that was pretty good.
Well, yeah, because their characters are mildly developed.
You can tell that like they actually have a good relationship with each other, and they actually care about each other.
Yeah.
And then that guy dies, and I am one, and then Baze starts saying I am one with the Force. The Force.
Yeah, because you're like, it's actually using like Jedi mind trick stuff instead of just like generic action movie. Yeah. So I think it's like my biggest issue with Rogue One is that I feel like someone was like, or Edwards, whatever the fuck his name is.
Gareth Edwards.
It was like, I want to make an action movie, guys. What should we do? I want to put it on the beach and do space and stuff. And they're like, oh, we got a whole bunch of Star Wars assets laying around. You can use those, buddy, and we can just call it whatever. Just kind of loosely tie it into the story. You can blow up shit for 2 hours, you know? That's what it feels like. And the only minor like action part I care about, you know. So like,
what were the big action parts other than the last set piece?
So there's the very very Middle Eastern like terrorist.
There was the tank thing.
Okay, wait. I want to talk about that slightly. So the first half of the movie, the rebels are the bad guys. Like, you can't help but like think that they're the bad guys, you know. Because like I was saying to him, so like right, we have the introduction of the male protagonist, and he like kills off his friend because the guy's like, oh, I can't climb, but like he didn't have to kill those stormtroopers, you know. Yeah, like
he didn't kill him, did he?
Well, I mean,
they don't die from the blast.
He shoots those stormtroopers, and the other stormtroopers are like, "What's going on?" And his friend's like, "Why did you do that?" And like he's like, "No, we can get out of here." And the guy's got like the arm, and he's like, "Oh, I can't climb with my bum arm." And he's like, "Don't worry about it, friend." And like fucking shoots him, you know. So like he's just like a bad guy. I don't like him. Like they like attack like a prison camp, I guess, and then like the stormtroopers are. I mean, you're kind of like, oh, they're the evil government, but like they haven't done much. It's very like it just reminds.
Supposed to empathize with this.
It just reminds me because like you've seen that scene in like Black Hawk Down or something. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's like a war movie of like current times, you know. And you'll see U.S. soldiers in a tank, you know, like Marines, and they're rolling through a town, and then all the and then they'll fire RPGs and shit. Like that's like exactly what it was. There's stormtroopers like in this tank, you know, and they're like trying to like keep the peace, and like I mean technically they're mining shit away, so they're still bad guys, but they don't really know why they're mining it, you know. So like you can't really be like, boy, the guys are dicks.
I mean, I think they're supposed to be bad guys because they're working for the Empire.
I mean, they're bad
the Empire's
guys,
soldiers,
but they're not bad guys.
But
like it's so.
I mean, they're just the enemy, though. That's like saying you're not supposed to in World War II, even though German soldiers may not have held the same beliefs as Hitler.
Yeah.
You still kill them off, and you shouldn't feel bad about it because they're the enemy.
All I'm saying,
even though
Empire did nothing wrong.
Yeah, clearly.
Dude, it was so reminiscent of like some kind of like terrorists and stuff. It's like, well, what are the rebels? ISIS? What's happening here? You know? Yeah. And I was like, whoa, this is Black Hawk Down, but whoa, the rebels are the good guys.
I think there was also some symbolism there for some people's views in the Middle East, because that faction of the rebels was supposed to be the extremist rebels, and the other one is supposed to be the normal rebels.
And Saw, or the black guy, you know, he's like So the defector pilot is like, I have information for you. They didn't find it. I'm just here to talk to you. You know.
Yes.
They're like, we're gonna hentai mindfuck you, and he was like, oh no, like
Yeah.
you're like, how are these not the bad guys? You know. So, I guess it's like, action scenes are fun, you know, but it just kind of dragged on. You're like, oh look, it's
Yeah.
rebels shooting the same stormtroopers. Oh, these ones are beige colored.
Well, we were talking about the different other Imperial troops that had like swords on their backs and that had other.
Are those swords? I don't know if they're swords.
They have to be swords.
doesn't-
They look like
she
swords.
She doesn't draw them out as swords. I think they're just. I don't know if they're just decorative.
Why would they be Why the hell would they be on their backs if they weren't? They're definitely swords.
Why would a stormtrooper?
But they're not stormtroopers. They have the black outfit on, and they
Oh,
have two
yeah.
swords in their back, and I want to see those guys pull out their swords and fuck shit up.
They get shot from afar because swords are impractical.
Well, how do you know that they don't have deflecting powers? I don't know, dude.
So I guess it just feels very. It's like one of the most un-Star Warsy feeling Star Wars.
But okay, I think you need to look past whether it feels like Star Wars, because, I mean, I personally want a movie that doesn't feel like Star Wars in the Star Wars universe.
Jedi are cool.
I know Jedi are cool. What I want something that's smaller, without Jedi. Let's have a look at what some planet is like. Let's stay on one, maybe two planets, and see what is like the political structure of those planets.
Yeah.
How are things going on? And that's what they tried to do with the prequels, and it didn't turn out good.
Well, yeah, because their political structure was like, let's just watch Congress meetings. And
Yeah,
like, and
yeah.
8-year-old me was like, can they go back to cutting up droids and whatever and jump around flying spaceships and shit? Because they're like, oh, the Galactic Senate has voted to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Yeah, I think part of the reason the prequels weren't good is because they had that slow part and they were trying to show what the world was like, but they didn't do any world building
they're just
whatsoever.
like tonally just fucked up because
Yeah.
they have like Jar Jar Binks where it's like Misa make
Well,
a fart
yeah.
joke, and then it's like we're talking about the intergalactic policies of our government and what we're doing in this trade war with the separatists, and it's like what? And then
Yeah.
Jar Jar Binks is back, and then you see R2D2 flying around lighting shit on fire, and you're like, what is the tone of this
Okay.
movie? And then Anakin's like, I'm killing younglings, not
Yeah.
children, because
Well, that was-
PG-13.
I think the tonal problems were mainly in the first one in Phantom.
Oh, I think the tonal problems are huge in the third one as well. That's the one supposed to
In the
be
third one,
the dark
well,
one.
it's sort of it. I don't know, I haven't seen the third one in a long time, so I can't really say anything.
It's we're getting so off topic, but
Yeah.
but like R2D2 like flies around and spits like goop on these robots trying to stop him. Then he like lights them on fire and he zooms around going wee, and then in that same movie. Like, they
Well,
kill the children. Anakin shows up, Master Skywalker, what's going on? And like, my eyes are yellow, and like fucking like cuts
Yeah.
them all to pieces. You're like, what are we watching? Like, look away, Tommy. Like,
Yeah.
so
But okay, we're sort of shifting into like talking about the main Star Wars universe.
Star
So why don't we
Wars.
take like a short break, get some more coffee, come back, and then we can talk more broadly about Star Wars universe, because that's like a topic in itself.
So let's just finish up our Rogue One discussion though.
All right, yeah. So what
Okay,
are
so-
your final thoughts on the movie?
My final thoughts are
Like a 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10. Just
would-
by its not
I would
in
say
the Star Wars.
okay, right.
universe.
I would say it's a fun movie. It's the cinematography is gorgeous.
Yeah.
All the set pieces are very different. Like you see the statue of the Jedi like buried in the sand, and that's incredible. And they're flying around in the rainy spot, and there's like X-wings flying around, blowing up the base. Like the inner 14-year-old are like, yeah, fucking pew pew pew. Like you're having
Yeah.
a great time. And it's definitely, and then stormtroopers on a beach looks just incredibly beautiful, and it's great. Action's fun. It's a fun movie. I would definitely rate it like above average of your summer blockbuster movie, even though it came out in
Yeah.
December, But like in the span of action movies, it's a very good movie. It's well made. There might be some musical directions
that was
are
one
off.
thing that I was gonna say.
in the
Is I feel
tone.
like they were overusing music a lot, especially in the first half of the movie,
Mhm.
and they sort of relied on it to set a tone.
Yeah, so It's as a standalone, you don't say like whatever. It's not really Star Wars. It's just a shoot 'em up movie, and we're using these cool assets. I think it's a fun movie. I think it's maybe a little long. You know, I feel like if they
Yeah.
cut down on characters or like split it into two movies where they kind of follow some characters and slowly introduce them, um, I think more time, but splitting it up would have greatly benefited it. Um,
Yeah.
so I enjoy it. It's probably like a 6 out of 10, but it's not something where like it's definitely like not like a oh, I'm feeling ill today. I'm gonna throw on one of my favorite movies. I'm gonna throw on The
Rogue
Goonies
One.
or
Yeah.
or The Empire Strikes Back. It's not that kind of movie of action movie because you really just it's you don't care as much, you know. So
Yeah.
it's fun, jump in, jump out. I wish they had extended up a little bit more in that area.
Yeah. Or just kept the same type of deal and made it shorter.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's above average. I
Yeah.
don't think it's very special.
So it definitely it has some good parts. It's definitely visually amazing, but there's, clear problems with story, and some other parts of the movie that sort of drag it down. Maybe honestly, if I think if Jin was sort of introduced as a side character in one of the original trilogy, that and she had just a little bit of we had just a little bit of pre-knowledge
Yeah.
going in to that movie, then they could have developed the other characters a little bit more, and we would have had more background for her.
Well, the original trilogy, she'd be dead. She dies.
How
before.
long was it between the original trilogy and Rogue One?
The original sequels.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's prequels. If
Yeah,
she was in the
the
prequels,
prequels.
sorry, yeah.
So yeah, she's like 8 when it kicks off, and that's kind of the Galactic Empire,
Yeah.
and they're stormtroopers now. They're not
Yeah.
clone troopers, you know. So
She's
she's a
too
little
young.
kid. There's like a 30-year blip, I think, around there. You know, she grows up. She's a young adult, like 20 years, you know.
Yeah.
So I think she grows up after the time of the Jedi, and she dies right before A New Hope.
Yep.
You know, so it's kind of hard because you don't want to be like 45 and still be like,
Yeah.
I'm rebellious. Like, shut up, Grandma. Like,
Yeah. They
Um,
just
I feel like I don't want them to have a trilogy every time they want to make a movie.
yeah.
you know?
That's part of the problem is that with
Yeah.
making 2 movies out of it.
Yeah. But I would have appreciated a little bit of an extended
Yeah.
job or, less characters and more hyper focused on said characters. Because
Yeah.
there's definitely like a lot of level. Like I like Kay. I like the blind man. The Force says, "Man, I'm with the Force," and like, shut up, idiot. But then he's like showing off, you know, and he's blind, and that's cool, you know.
Yeah.
And his friend, who's very like begrudging, and he's like, "Who's gonna protect you?" And he's like, "You idiot!" And he's like, "Damn it!" And like pulls his
Yeah.
gun and fall, you know. So yeah, I would say a 6 out of 10.
That's about right. So, it's a good movie, but it's not great. It's nothing special.
Yeah, it's not something
Alright.
you buy on Blu-ray and set up on your
Yeah.
cabinet of movies.
Yeah.
It's something you go, oh, there's nothing to watch on. Oh, it's on Netflix. May as well throw it on as like eat a pizza after this hangover. You know, like yeah. Alrighty, so we're gonna take a quick break, get some more coffee, and then we'll be right back, and we'll talk about Star Wars in a more generalized discussion. Good.
All right, and we're back from our break with water instead of coffee.
Yeah, we drank coffee when starting. What
It's okay.
that was already my third cup.
Yeah,
I mean, I
I
didn't-
understand.
I didn't.
Some
sleep-
people can't
I didn't
can't
s-
take
I didn't-
coffee.
I didn't sleep much last night, so I'm drinking a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
We were watching Rogue One. What a segue.
What?
No, so we finished our review, 6 out of 10. A review.
I guess yeah.
I guess it's not a review. It's just a discussion.
Just discussing, just
We-
talking about
we
it.
like, we don't like. Now we're going to talk about Star Wars in general,
general.
/ talking about The Last Jedi, because
I
now
suppose so. Yeah.
now the heat's have the fires stopped burning.
No, the fires will never stop burning around Star Wars, Brian. I
The
think
Last Jedi.
time has proven that quite readily.
That people still adamantly hate that movie.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate
Well,
episode 7.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason to hate it.
People hate it.
I know.
People are like, fire everyone.
Well, I don't
fire
know why.
everyone involved.
I don't
Fire
know why.
Disney. Burn to the ground.
I mean, they did give it. All right. Let's hold on. Let's start with just Star Wars.
You just Star Wars? You
Just Star
don't want
Wars.
to get our feelings out of the way about sequels?
No. Well, let's start with Star Wars, and then we'll move to the sequels. Right. So.
Oh, is that because the sequels aren't Star Wars?
No.
Is what
Okay,
everyone
we'll start
else
with the
says.
original Star Wars. The original Star Wars.
Okay.
So you know that I have mixed feelings about Star Wars. So
Yes.
I never really liked Star Wars. I feel like, the original trilogy, they're pretty good movies. Like 7 out of 10. I liked them. They had good characters. They had memorable characters. My problem is I'm a world building guy. I like, I read books for the cool worlds that they're in. I watch movies for the cool worlds or fantasy
God,
movies
what a nerd. Who
for the
reads
cool
books.
for the cool worlds they're in.
Mhm.
And I just feel like, even though we see all these races in Star Wars, we see all sorts of tentacle faces and tentacles on the back of the head and tentacles other places.
What's your fascination with tentacles?
Just everything. And we never really learn anything about any of the races except maybe Wookiees and the little bear guys. Were they
Ewoks?
Ewoks? Thank you.
You mean the toy sellers?
Yes, those guys. Which the Ewoks are sort of. We still don't really learn anything about the Ewoks, and so it just feels to me like you have this huge, vast world, but we never learn anything about its inner workings, about what it's all about. What I think we were talking about this last night, and I said, what is Yoda's race? What happened to the rest of his people? It's super cool,
He's just another Muppet created by Jim Henson. Muppets and Star Wars are the same universe.
Yes.
Confirmed. He's a
Can
Muppet.
confirm 2017.
Yeah. He's actually a frog. Kermit the Frog and Yoda are the same
Right.
same species. Yeah.
Okay.
It just Kermit's a Indiana.
What?
Lives on the bayou, plays a banjo.
Okay.
Yoda's a space frog.
A space frog.
Yeah. There's also the ET creatures that are in Star Wars.
What are the ET creatures?
You know E.T., little alien man? His race is in Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah, in the prequels, like when you look in the Senate and like the chamber of all these aliens and
Oh
and
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
there's,
Okay,
like,
I
little, like,
have
the
seen
little-
those. Yeah.
E.T.'s a Jedi. That's how he does the finger
Okay.
point.
All right. Let's not get into that.
So, yeah. So
that's my main gripe with Star Wars.
your main gripe is there's not enough character building. Well,
Well, there's
what's
too much. It's all focused on character, which is normally fine, but I feel like with a sort of something in sci-fi and fantasy, you almost need a good
some world building.
yeah,
like
a
what
good
there is outside of
distribution
it.
between world building and characters, and Star Wars is way more focused on characters. Not necessarily a horrible thing, but it makes the movies less enjoyable for me.
Yeah. So, is that why you like Altered Carbon? So much world building. And there's-
I never said I liked Altered Carbon.
There's,
What?
but look at all this world building.
Oh God! Let's not have the Altered Carbon. We can have the Altered Carbon conversation later.
When I finish it.
Yeah. When you actually, what episode are you on?
7.5.
Yeah.
Because it
Just-
sucks because the actress is awful. Anyway, so I can definitely see that gripe. You know what I mean? So the prequels try a little bit harder to do some
fail.
character building. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the only real world building you see is like when you see that there's like stormtroopers everywhere and whatnot. And I mean, I would be a little bit annoyed if it became like a National Geographic kind of like they walk into like the bar, the Moss can't whatever in the original New Hope,
The
and-
cantina.
yeah and yeah, right. So if you like went in there and Ben was like, oh, that is a bat creature and that's actually a werewolf.
Okay.
They're spacey now and then that green Greedo guy or
Yeah.
whatever who Han Solo totally shot first. You'd be like, whatever, you know. So,
But that would be bad world building, though. I know, I don't want bad world building. I want, obviously because there's so many races, you can't focus on, or sorry, you can't get them all in there. But maybe focus on it, like when Han shoots Greedo. Maybe talk. I don't know. Does he have some special ability as his race? Does he just look funny?
Look
You know,
weird, yeah.
Maybe he. I don't know.
He'd
Something
excuse-
that just differentiates him, other than the fact that he looks like a green dude.
Slightly different.
Yeah.
The only other like character traits you learn about, there's like Jar Jar Binks race, and they can like swim and jump real high.
Yeah, but nobody wants to
and
watch that part
sound
of the movie. So
morons. And then the Ewoks or the Wookiees, they live long and they're stronger than normal men.
they're covered in hair.
that's,
That's what you get.
Yeah, so I can definitely see that, some kind of like character building. Like, so in episode 6, all the like pigmen and like Jabba's palace, there's just like all his henchmen are little pigmen.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Where did they come from?
Where are the pigments?
Yeah, what's the deal?
Where are the pigments?
Yeah,
George Lucas was like, that's what I look cool with their little tusks and they're a green pigman. Oh, I'm a pigman.
Yeah. Instead of feeling like it's a world that has rules, it just feels like they're just throwing fucking races in there for no reason. No, there's no rhyme or reason behind why this race is here or that race is there. If they narrowed it down a little bit,
It's not race, it's species.
sorry, species. Species. If they narrowed it down a little bit, it would be much more satisfying.
Yeah, so like all you know about like Yoda's race is that they live 900 years, and that's really it.
I mean, you don't even know that. Does he live 900 years because he's a Jedi?
No, he just dies of old age. That's how he dies, because his species lives like 900 years, and he just dies because he's old. Yeah. And then like, so I definitely see that, and like it's supposed to be this, infinite universe, but like, it's only humans.
Yeah, it's mainly
except
humans.
for the frogmen who are like the Admiral Akbar. And they're always in the command chairs, and then sometimes you get the little like the guy that flies with Lando, the little like he looks weird in the face. He looks doofy. He's in the Millennium Falcon in episode 6 when they're attacking the new Death Star. He's this little like look it up like it's like the
Lando's flying partner
in episode 6, something like
Return of
that.
the Jedi.
And he's a little like looking guy.
How does that sound? Help me understand. But Lando's flying. Sure, maybe it'll show up here.
So
this
that guy.
Oh,
yeah.
he has like a whole bunch of folds on his face, and he's short. Okay.
Like he's got
Yeah.
big
He shows
ass
up a couple times.
fucking ears.
Yeah.
And they're just like random. So like I definitely hear your point. So I like the idea, the cantina, all these different races, and Luke's like, wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily...
and Ben's like, don't stare at anyone. He's a shifty type, and it's George Lucas being like, look at all this wacky shit I made. They're aliens, But if you had some more like, I guess it would maybe be slightly hard to empathize with them, but like I empathized with Robot in Rogue One.
Yeah.
So like if you had like this little like this creature that could do this thing especially well, if you had some creature that was like, I don't know, a good climber, had lots of arms.
Yeah, something to make them
Something.
distinct from the other races.
Yeah, something that was actually like interesting, and then they're like useful to the main hero, and then you're like, oh, I care about this little lizard-looking man. I mean, you care about Yoda, but like that's only because he's Yoda, and he's
Yeah.
Speak dumb, I do. Wax people's sticks.
Or like Jabba the Hutt. What is he? What race is he? How did Luke not ask?
He's a fat, goopy lizard.
Yeah, how did Luke not ask Han? What is he? How did his species survive? Yeah. What evolutionary advantage does being a fat blob give you?
How does he become like a mafia head boss? I I think there's some explanation in like the Clone Wars show.
Yeah, I
They're
think
saving like baby Jabba the Hutt for his father, who's already a gang lord, so he like is born into it.
Yeah.
But Leia just like, in my sexy suit, I'm gonna choke you out in this chain. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Blah," and it's just like a fat, stupid fucking worm. Like, what does he have? Is he
I
like,
have no idea.
if he was like incredibly smart or something, like that would be good, you know?
But he isn't.
Yeah,
I don't think.
He's
He doesn't show that.
Han Solo.
Yeah.
You know, he's just fucking
Okay.
Jabba the Hutt. You know,
It,
Pizza
yeah, it
Hut.
just feels like he's there to be there.
Yeah. So I definitely hear that, and like the parts I liked of Rogue One. Oh, we're back.
Yeah.
Is when you see the
The U-turn.
stormtroopers, you know, like in the daily life, you know, and like you kind of see their oppression over the galaxy. I think that's my major issue with. Can we start talking about the
Yeah,
sequels?
you just
Or
segue anyone,
I'm gonna
anytime you
segue
want.
into
I have
sequels.
one more thing to add to sort of the previous discussion, but
Okay.
segue.
So I'm gonna segue. I'm gonna sneak into sequels. Like, what's after this? You know what I mean? So what I mean by that is like, you know, in the original trilogy, you see the stormtroopers, and they're a very oppressive force. They kill Luke's parents looking for this droid, and they blow up Alderaan. You know, they're dickheads,
Yeah.
and so you emphasize
Empathize?
empathize.
There
Thank
you
you. With the rebels, they're taking down this evil government. You know, but like Rogue One, all it just you don't see that like governmentally oppression. All you just see is like they come in and like raid a village and then they dick off. You know, because like
Yeah.
you cut the Rey's homeworld right of
Are you talking about the
sequels.
post-quels now? The sequels?
Sequels? Yeah, I said I'm talking about the sequels.
Yeah, but then you said Rogue One, which
Well, I was saying that like you see the oppression of the stormtroopers, you know. And,
Oh,
like, you
okay.
see them, they're like, "Oh, show me your papers," and like kicking a door, and like they're like arresting people, you know. And you see that in the original trilogy, you know. It's very like, they're like, "What do you think you're doing, old man?" And Ben's like, "Piss off," and Jedi mind tricks him or whatever.
the one time that ever happens.
No, there's more times that happen.
Happens in the sequel. When else does it happen in the original trilogy?
It happens. I want to say he does it again.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Episode 4.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just sneaks around
Yeah,
stormtroopers.
it's
I don't know.
arbitrary, but yes. That doesn't actually, I don't.
What do you mean? The Force just has random powers, like
Yeah.
Leia can fly, like
Yeah,
Superman?
that's okay. We'll talk about that in a second. But okay, before we move fully to the sequels, I was gonna say that I think that we should probably watch the Clone Wars. That I know it's like a child show, whatever,
TV
but
show.
for a little bit of world building. I mean, I would assume you can't. There are 6 seasons of it, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
there's a lot of it.
You can't possibly go 6 seasons without doing a whole bunch of world building.
Yeah, and so that kind of stuff is like what makes you care about the stormtroopers, and so
Yeah.
those are very boots on the ground Marines, you know. But like I think about Captain Rex, right, and he's got like the cool blue helmet, you know, and he's a badass, and you follow him through adventures and whatnot, and like you relate with these stormtroopers a lot, or clone troopers, which is what I really liked about it, because like clone troopers are cool, and you're like you want to see them run
Yeah.
around and shoot shit, you know. And I remember when watching it when I was younger, you know, and like seeing there was some really good episodes with how the clone troopers interacted, which is really interesting and world
Yeah.
building, you know, and you care, you know, like you follow this kind of squadron for a while. Like there's one episode, really good one, it's an early one, you follow this squadron, you know, and one has to like sacrifice himself for the others. But like it's interesting how they interact because they're all the same dude, but they all do things that split them from being different characters,
Right.
you know. So you follow your main heroes. It's on Anakin, Obi-Wan, and they're fighting General Grievous and yada yada, you know. And then you go ground level to these these clone troopers, and you care like a surprising amount. I just want to rest my arm at the table, but I don't want to do that. You know, so it's just like it's interesting. You care, and you see those characters later on. You see how they've grown
Yeah.
up. There's one called Five that has like a handprint on his chest because they all like make up like nicknames and distinguish each other and yada yada and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So it's world building because they're not nameless, faceless
Clones.
people dying.
Yeah.
It's oh no, they have their own special things, even
Yeah.
though they're all the same dude. But like you care, and
So it's probably worth a watch.
and it's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the nostalgia will probably just be like,
Kick in.
"Whee!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So the sequels.
Oh boy.
What? Okay. I know. I think we both liked the first one. We both like Episode 7.
The Force Awakens, tons of fun.
Okay.
God, dude, the nostalgia that hits you. Oh man,
Yeah.
dude. And like,
Well,
dude,
okay.
Ooh.
Let's steer away
Ooh.
from nostalgia
Ooh,
land.
sitting in the theaters, you see the opening scroll, and ba-da! Like you get like goosebumps. And I was like, it's happening, you know. Like you didn't
Yeah.
realize there was gonna be any more Star Wars, you know. And you're like, oh, I'm like, dude, I was wrecked that entire movie.
Okay. What did you think about Episode 8? Because I know. Again, we came out with different feelings about it. I think again, I had sort of higher initial feelings than you did. Better initial
I
feelings.
thought I liked it more than you.
You did?
Maybe. It's all right.
It's all right.
I've thought about it. I've kind of
Yeah.
thought about it. I thought about it. The movie is a good movie. I think it's a decent movie. I think it has some issues in tone, but I mean, but I can't really harp on that. You know, Star Wars movies have kind of always had that. You know, like they blow up Alderaan and kill an entire planet of people.
Yeah.
But then like you cut
They're
back
joking.
to Han and Leia and they're getting shot at and Leia's like, you're a terrible shot, and takes the gun from him like pew pew and like nails two stormtroopers and
Yeah.
it's like, I like her, you know. It's like, it's whatever. That was my Han Solo voice, by the way.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
But like there's a lot of that movie that like I understand it. I don't hate it. There's a lot of people that hate it. You know, there's so many people that
Just ridiculous.
hate it. Yeah. So like the score itself is gorgeous. All set pieces are gorgeous. High production, high
I
quality.
mean, yeah, naturally.
I mean, it's Disney Star Wars movie. What do you expect? You animals. It's a well-made movie. There's maybe like I think the majority of the dialogue's fine. There's gonna be some things that are kind of goofy, but maybe a little bit overly goofy because I feel like those movies have always been kind of hard with tone, you know. So it's definitely
Yeah, because they're trying to balance between we're literally killing entire worlds
Yeah,
and
and-
humor, and they do a relatively good job of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Some of the jokes don't hit as well as The Force Awakens. Force Awakens, I think that movie, it's hilarious at a lot of points. Because like, when like Kylo Ren's like cutting up the interrogation booth and it's very like all age groups, you know. And the stormtroopers are like wandering down the hallway, and then they hear like "Psyoom, psyoom, psyoom," and he's like yelling, and they like look at each other and like oh, and just like, you know, walk away. You know, it's age. It's fine for every age of jokes, but like some jokes were kind of like when watching it. Like the one main joke that really bothers me, and kind of like I didn't know how this movie was gonna go, was the intro when he does like a yo mama call. It was like
What?
it was like a prank phone call. You know, like can we get a cast again?
Could we get a cast?
I'm so bad with names.
Well, who
or
was it?
Characters. It's the pilot. It's the guy with the main character arc.
Ooh, I actually, P, it starts with a P. Or,
Pylo Ren.
Characters.
It's Pylo Ren. It's
Poe.
There
you go.
Poe Dameron. When he makes like the like prank call in a sense, when he's like trying to like buy some time, he's like, "You're on hold." Do 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 do, and like the like evil general guy, the ginger, is like, "I want you to tell you that you rebels are doomed," and he's like, "Sorry, you're still on hold," and I'm like, it felt a little out of place, you know.
Yeah.
It's like really. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, we were making phone prank calls. This is unrealistic and dumb. Maybe that's one of the major jokes that kind of missed for me. I didn't find it as funny. And like you talked about your issue with the Luke character, with Luke's character in a sense. So I like him more, but he's definitely a little bit more goofy, you know. Ray's like, you know, episode 7 ends and she's like handing the saber to him, and it cuts back to him. And he's kind of like tosses it over his shoulder, you know. Like I think that's funny.
It was funny. I got like a little an exhale through the nose from me. Yeah.
Because it's Cough Guard and everyone's complaint with Luke is a little bit over the top, you know.
Yeah, well, they're acting like, oh, the world is ending, but you know, how long has he been on that island? He's changed.
He's an old man
as a person.
He's an old man now who is like tried. He failed. He failed.
Yeah.
And through his own failures, a lot of lives were lost, and he created Kylo Ren essentially. And in his moment of weakness of if I just kill him, it'll be over with, and it's a very weak moment for him. So he's living with that guilt, and we always knew him as a goofy character. You know what I mean? Like I guess he gets more serious in episode 6, but he's still like a kid, you know. In the other ones, and they're like, oh, you'd be so much more serious. But like, what? How would you react if he was like more serious? If he didn't make the joke of like, amazing, everything you said was wrong right then or whatever. But imagine if he was just like, no, I'm not gonna train you because you're dumb. This is all dumb. You're dumb. And he takes the saber and just like dunks it into the ocean. Like, that's dumb.
Yeah, you know? I think some of the jokes that he put out there, they didn't super land for me. You know, maybe an exhale through the nose, or internally I was like, oh yeah, okay, that was a little funny. But I didn't feel like any of them were tonally out of place, because the
Milk of the Beast. For that blue milk, baby.
That was weird. I don't know. I don't know what that was.
Was I the only one who's getting a little turned on?
Yes. Literally the only one.
Daddy Luke can get my blue milk.
No. But the jokes he cracks, like when he says, you just, everything was wrong to Rey when he asked her like what the Force was.
Yeah.
It felt totally in place, because, you know, he's abandoned the Force, and of course he would be like, yeah, that's nothing, you're wrong.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that was something that he wouldn't say.
Because Rey thinks of it as a weapon, you know?
Yeah.
And you see that kind of like disillusion between her and Finn, because they're both like, what is this? We don't really know what's going on. And like when Finn in episode 7, when they get on Death Star Killer 5000, whatever the hell that thing's called, the big death planet, Death Star, big planet.
Oh yeah, I know.
Star Killer,
I forgot.
Death Ball.
Honestly, I think that's just a testament to that part of that movie was just kind of I completely forgot that was even in the movie.
It's a bigger Death Star. Anyway,
yeah.
So they like land, you know, and then Han's like, all right, so how do we disable it? And Finn's like, I don't know, I just like threw out the garbage. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, millions of lives are in the balance. And he's like, we'll use the Force. And Han's like, that's not how the Force works. And like that joke lands and it's hilarious, and I love it when it happens, you know. Han, you know, Han Solo, you just love his character, you know. And why can't I think of the actor's name? Harrison Ford is just a great dude. I really enjoy him as an actor, you know, this swashbuckling kind of, you know, I'm a cool dude, you know. And he plays it off, and he's very funny. Yeah, but they're like, that's not how the Force works. And Rey's like, it's a weapon I can kind of use or whatever.
Yeah.
And it looks like, no, it's just life. Like, get out of my face, you know. So, I think Luke's character is great. I really enjoy his character, to be fair. I think a lot of people had issues with his character, and I don't really know why. They're like, it's not Luke Skywalker. Yeah. But what do you want? Do you want more movies of him?
Did you want exactly the same thing?
Of him jumping into an X-Wing and flying around with Han Solo and Chewbacca, and they're all in the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah.
That's not what these movies are about.
Yeah.
I really wish Han and Luke had a scene together. But that's not the point. That's not the point of these movies.
I think that I also wish they had went further and just changed it further. My main gripe with part of the reason that I'm sort of like, the movies are okay, but I'm sort of distasteful towards the sequels, is because it's the same damn thing we already saw.
Yeah.
They're fighting off the Imperials. Why? Why
First
are we
Order,
seeing this
yeah.
again? Why are you telling this same story again? Oh, it's about hope still. Yeah, but you already made 3 movies about hope. Why are you making 3 more?
That lights the
Yeah.
fire, and rebellion isn't made on hate; it's love and hope and.
Yeah.
You know,
Are they gonna make the post sequels? Because I'm assuming there's gonna be another trilogy after those about hope too. It's a waste of my time to see those movies because we've already seen them.
I'm so hopeful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's my major gripe with Episode 7. You know, it's A New Hope, like beat for beat. It's A New Hope. And so okay, right. So that's what I like about Episode 8.
It tries something new.
Yeah, it tries something new. It's not Episode 5 again, because Episode 7 and Episode 4 are literally the same movie.
And that's okay.
So that was an introducing back into Star Wars, you know, after we watched George Lucas fuck about for 3 movies, and everyone's like, these are dumb, you know. I understand, what was it, J.J. Abrams? No.
Abrams did 7.
Okay, it was Abrams.
And, I forget who did 8.
A new guy, but he did really well. I liked him.
Rian Johnson.
Yeah. So it's different directors and different visions, and J.J. Abrams is like, his little mystery box thing.
That was annoying with Snoke's. I think Snoke's is just a really annoying character.
Who's Snoke? Who's Rey's parents?
Yeah.
Is it more Skywalkers fucking up the entire universe all times? You know, and you're like, God fucking damn, Star Wars.
Rian Johnson just like crushed his dreams.
Yeah, so I really liked what Johnson did. Well, I don't think J.J. Abrams had anything written in there, because that's
he's just fucking around.
It's a scapegoat. It's
he's doing the 8th movie or the 9th movie.
Who?
J.J. Abrams is doing the 9th movie. They rehired him. He's gonna reintroduce this mystery box, and then you're gonna have to deal with shitty non-character characters between the 9th and the 10th movies, because you know that there's gonna be a 10th movie.
Yeah. So, I really liked what he did from a story point of view, and making his characters more gray. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, Kylo Ren is my favorite character. I think in Star Wars, like, in total, I love his character so much, and his internal demons that he's messing with. You know, it's very, like, when he goes to take the shot at Leia's ship, he can, you know, even though he cut Han into pieces last movie, you know, so like, he's still like messed up in that, and it's very much so Luke's fault, and that kind of Rey and him reaching out is like, we can have this new future, you know. And I don't understand, like, the issue, the need to stamp out the rebellion, right? So I like everything. So I'm really enjoying the movie, right? It's going great. I'm loving this relationship between Rey and Kylo, right? It's doing great. The scene in the throne room, the best scene in the movie by far.
Yeah.
You know, he kills Snoke. Snoke's an arrogant douchebag.
Well, Snoke is just like, he's not even a character.
He's just dumb.
Yes. Why?
Is it Emperor Palpatine? No.
Yeah, but that's another thing where they just recreated the same thing with the Dark Emperor that you know little about. Which I think with Palpatine it was done much better, because over the 3 movies he was sort of very gently introduced.
Yeah, and it's very much so the focal point's Vader, but then you realize there's someone kind of more pulling the strings. So Snoke's just dumb, and I'm happy that he got cut in half in the throne room. But that kind of like loses like who's the bad guy, because you think Kylo's more gray area, you know?
Yeah, he could shift either way.
Yeah, and so he's like,
he does.
He like says to Rey, he's like, grab my hand and let us rule the galaxy together. And you're like, I can get down with this. Like when they fight together, you're like, oh, this is fucking awesome, guys. You're having a great time, you know. And like, these are enemies you haven't seen fight. And
yeah, those guys were cool. The guys in red, that's what I wanted for Rogue One.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think they're around during the prequels, you know. But Yoda walks into a room and like slams them against the wall, and they're like, ah.
Yeah,
it's kind of whatever. But it's really cool in the new movie, because they've all got these different weapons, and they're like lightsaber-y, but not quite, and so they're like fighting it off, you know, and like Rey and them are like throwing lightsabers back and forth, and like
It's fucking awesome, man.
Yes.
I guess my issue is like, where do you go? And then you say from the world building, you know, the rebels in Rogue One, they're still like an organization. They're like the Republic, you know. They have to like take a vote because Jin's like, we gotta go get these plans. Like no one believes her, and like the council votes no, you will not have our support. Yada yada. Right? It's an actual rebellion. Now the rebellion is just like 12 people.
Yeah, just like follows Leia.
It's like it's literally like 12 people. And I don't really see the purpose in not killing Leia, considering the fact Carrie Fisher's dead.
Yeah. How are they going to do the next movie?
They're gonna make it look like Tarkin, the guy from Rogue One, the old guy. Remember we were talking about him?
Or what Leia looked like in Rogue One?
No. What? Yeah. But that old guy, Tarkin or whatever.
I don't remember his name.
But yeah, whatever. The old guy, you know, he's kept around, you know, and like his face is just like it's like the uncanny valley. It's like really close, but like not quite, and that's what makes it like creepy, you know.
Yeah, I sort of wish that
there's so much focus on him. You would have wished they'd just like gotten a different actor, in a sense.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of things, people were like, "Oh, it's not Vader's original voice. He sounds not as cool because he's not the exact same. Like they're dead. Like
yeah.
Like are you gonna bitch about there being new Star Wars movies? Like shut up, idiots. Like these movies have been coming out since like the 70s. Like come on, they're dead. The old people are dead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I said that. Take a quick sip.
Go ahead.
But like, I guess my issue now is that it just seems like because there's very little world building. The only world you see is in the 7th movie when they blow up the Republic, right?
Yeah, in the very beginning.
It's their Alderaan, you know. Yeah. It just cuts to people being like, "Oh my god," and you know, it's whatever.
There's just
was that a government in place?
Yeah.
And then, but like, if that's a government in place, then what the fuck's happening to Rey? She's literal slave child labor, you know.
Yeah.
And so like, the First Order isn't seen as like an oppressive government force. It just seems like a bunch of douchebags that are trying to hunt down Luke.
Yeah. Rather than
and just stamp out their rebellion.
Well, like they have the casino scene in that. The only real places they had the world building in the sequels was where Rey started.
Yeah.
Her homeworld. Yeah. Is it Jakku? Jakku.
Wow, I remember the name.
Yeah. It was Jakku. And then you get the sort of casino scene in the 8th movie. And the casino scene, it's set in the casino, but they don't interact with anybody in the casino. Just, like, they don't do anything.
Like, a lot of the characters just look awful, and it becomes like a CG fest.
Yeah.
And you're like, George Lucas, get out of here. And he's like, oh, and he looks angry as usual. You know, he never looks happy. This floofy hair.
Yeah. So it just feels like.
Yeah, and they're just like, the weapons are bought, and it's like trying to like. I think it just shows how absolutely removed the rest of the universe is becoming towards the galactic war.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Because there's just douchebags that are just selling weapons back and forth because they don't care. You know, and so the casino, the guards who are there, they're not the First Order stormtroopers. They're just dudes that live on that planet, and they're the police force. And I just feel like they're so removed. They're not like a galactic power anymore. They just hate the rebels because the rebels are trying to put forth some sort of government, and then the First Order is like, no, but we want to put forth the government. But does Kylo Ren want to rule over the galaxy?
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck does he care?
Yeah.
He's like, I just want to move forward with my life and get rid of the rebellion, you know? And he acts like a little
And then at the
bitch.
end of the movie, he just literally takes Snoke's place.
And now he's just the bad guy?
Yeah.
So, I guess my issue is I don't see where it's going, you know? I don't see, like, the rebels are 4 people fighting another 3 people in an almost infinite galaxy. Why do we care?
Yeah. But part of it is it feels like they're fighting for like this hollow shell, you know? It's like they're fighting over a bead of gold, but the gold, it's like hollow on the inside because there's no worlds.
Yeah.
They're not fighting over worlds. There's no world building or anything. Like you said, it's so removed.
Yeah.
It's everybody is going about their daily life,
yeah.
and all these, I guess you could say, noblemen are just no
these-
you
these-
hits
the-
no
yeah,
you.
Yeah. These fat cats are just
Yeah.
selling guns and being wealthy and doing what
Okay.
the fuck they want. Yeah, the only winners are them, as they try to make like a political talk about selling
Yeah.
guns. The Americans sell guns everywhere because war is profitable and let's ham fists whatever. So like I think that was like trying to like talk about the world and like it's everything's gray. It's not all black and white. And I like that, I like that it's less of the good guys versus the bad guys. It's
But
a little
it's
bit
not necessarily
gray.
executed that well.
Yeah, and it's not that driving. You kind of need a bad guy. So I thought from episode 7 after episode 7 I thought Kylo Ren was going to turn into a super badass, right? I thought what he was going to do from there was assume a very Vader-y role in a sense,
Yeah.
because like I thought that was his kind of character arc, I thought his kind of maybe I am bad, maybe I'm not bad, and he's like Vader guide me, I feel these good feelings, but then he kills
Snoke.
he kills his father. I'm saying in episode
He kills
7
Han, yeah.
when he kills Solo, and I thought that was his defining moment of
Turning.
yeah, and he says that like Han, he's like, I need your help for this, and his help is letting go of the good side and letting go of the light and engrossing himself into the dark side of the Force, And so when he's like, I need your help, and Han's like, anything, he's like, thank you, and then fucking kills him,
Yeah.
So I thought after that point and after he got like cut up by Rey or whatever, I thought he was gonna come back being this like angry badass who was unstoppable. But then they're like shower scene and could you put a shirt on? Fucking Han Swallow, Ben Swallow, am I right, dog? Like, and like it goes back to feeding on that. Oh, he's kind of good. He's kind of bad. He's kind of good. If you just gone like full like bad, and Snoke was like, you listen to me, boy, and then like he like kills Snoke and then takes over in a more evil, hostile way, and less of like a Rey, I want to be with you and I want to move forward and get rid of the rebellion.
Yeah.
We'll be powerful together. We'll rule over everything, because he doesn't seem that like angry, And then when he's like fire everything at younger Luke with a trimmed beard, and how is he? Oh, I don't know. He's like fire everything at Luke. And then he's like, oh, I'm so angry. Like I just want to get rid of it. But why is he that angry? I just want to bury the past because I want Rey to like me, but she likes Leia. Like it seems childish. But if he kind of went down that dark side after killing Han and just let go of all that shit, I think that would have been cooler. And that's how I envisioned him going.
I think it would have been
because like who's the bad guy?
Yeah, but it would have. I mean, clearly he is because he switched back to full bad guy at the end of the 8th movie. But I think where J.J. Abrams was going was that direction. Was he turns into the super bad guy again?
Yeah.
But the problem with that is you would literally have
another Vader.
Yeah, you would have another Vader Palpatine, and it would be this like. It's way too similar
and repetitive.
Why couldn't they have made a good Star Wars movie that wasn't Rebels are fighting Siths? So just freaking
move forward,
make a movie that's set in the Star Wars world like Rogue One, but it's not about rebels fighting the ungodly power of I don't know. It's just
and Jedi are so like dead at this sense, like there's no real Jedi. It just feels like
she's the only one.
And it just feels like a universe of just like people that are kind of doing their own thing, and then there's stormtroopers. There's no like. I feel like you almost like need a new bad guy,
a new premise.
A new kind of like
a new kind of bad guy.
So like maybe there's something like less of we're trying to be this evil government and more of some force, some like infection is spreading across and trying to like take over, like trying to like destroy the galaxy, and like they're just destroying planet by planet, And so it's not the rebels, it's the people of this galaxy rising up, you know,
Yeah.
because space is huge, so you could have these like different kinds of things, you know, but it's still just guys in white want to be in charge, and like I love stormtroopers and it's very iconic, you know, and like Rogue One I really or Force Awakens I really enjoy, you know, you're like, oh, it's fucking Star Wars, but it feels the same. I feel like they're incredibly hard movies to make.
They are.
They're incredibly hard movies to make, and I feel like there's none of the kind of so hearing from like Star Trek and stuff, right? That the show is very like, what wacky Wallapalooza adventure are we gonna get stuck in now, right? And like then they're like, whatever, they get like shrunk down and they're like tiny and they gotta fix it or whatever, and or there's like a parallel universe and they have to deal with that or whatever, and like they meet some different alien species and they gotta whatever try to communicate with them, you know. Feels like there's no like exploration in it.
Yeah.
And so there's like, you just feel like everything's kind of discovered and just whatever, and now it's just like whatever,
Okay.
just people doing their own thing. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it would have been interesting if like they're having this quarrel, you know.
Yeah, they went in a different direction.
And then then maybe they team up when there's some big enemy or something, you know, there's some unknown hostile alien force, and now the rebels and the Empire has to team up to fight this off. Or I don't fucking know, just something different.
Yeah.
Like, I liked the eighth movie, and I see what they're doing. I just don't see where Episode 9 goes.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And I don't see what you do there. What happens? Does Rey kill Kylo, and then
You know what, dude? They're gonna use hope.
oh boy. But like, what happens? Does Rey kill Kylo, and then
I guess, or he's
And then-
gonna turn nice or something, and then
what? The angsty
yeah.
Jin?
But
just-
doesn't there have to be a new Sith Lord now? Because there needs to be two of them, right?
Oh yeah, is he gonna take on an apprentice or
Yeah.
something, or?
But is he really a Sith Lord? I don't know. Cause
I think
wasn't there
I-
something in the seventh movie about him because his lightsaber isn't a real lightsaber?
What?
But I thought there was something in the seventh movie about his lightsaber not being a real lightsaber.
No. I forget the specifics behind it, but I think it's along the lines of like that's the deciding moment when the Sith kills their master, in a sense. That's like how
Right.
like
They all do it.
Darth Plagueis and
Yeah.
Sidious, and Sidious kills Plagueis, and now he's this big evil dude. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I enjoyed the eighth movie. I enjoy what it's doing. It's a very
I mean, yeah.
things don't go well, you know. And Rose's character is whatever. And I
Yeah.
see the issues, but it's done with a purpose of things go wrong, and that's okay. Not everything's a Mary Jane,
Yeah.
and everything goes well, yada yada. So I enjoy the movie for that point, for that part, because people are like, "Oh, the casino scene is dumb and stupid." And
Yeah, but you can't judge the whole movie on that one.
yeah. It's, oh, it's just a waste of time, blah blah blah. And so there's definitely a lot of like, it feels like it'd be a waste of time, you know. I just feel like Star Wars movies are really hard to make.
Yeah, and they're sticking to the same formula they have. Rebels fight off the bad
way
guys.
more
Yeah.
powerful, more people, and can wipe out life. And we find the secret weakness, and it'll come down to two dudes with shiny sticks hitting each other with them.
Yeah.
you know.
I think that if I were to say J.J. Abrams is probably going to go back in the direction that the safe Star Wars formula, like The New Hope,
Yeah,
went with the first movie. He's probably Kylo Ren's character arc is probably just going to be dropped. He's just going to be a super
Yeah.
bad guy again. And
Yeah.
then the rebellion is going to quench.
yeah.
Rey's going to kill Kylo Ren, and that, that's going to be it. And then I guess we'll have that.
Is Leia gonna finally die, or
No,
die?
they're just gonna keep her CG'd
They're
in
just
for like
gonna-
the next 10 movies.
forever. She
yeah,
doesn't die. She's the new Yoda.
the next like 6
She'll be
trilogies.
around
She's
for, like,
she's central.
87,000. Because that's what her force powers do. Because who really knows? What
Yeah,
they do?
really, yeah,
I mean-
clearly. Yeah, how can?
There's definite issues, you know.
Yeah, but
We didn't go beat by beat through that. We kind of went more beat by beat through Rogue One because I feel like that's
yeah,
what the focal point was supposed to be, and I
Yeah,
think it really,
and then we sort of
relates into that. It talks about, you know, we talked about all of Star Wars as a whole. I love Star
Yeah.
Wars. All right, there's something basic and conceptual that's just very fun and exciting, and the original trilogy is just fun, you know. And you're put in this shit, and it's like you are the chosen one, Luke,
Yeah.
and like you're our last hope. A new hope arises, you know, and that's great. The Resistance has been losing all these battles, and that's no Moon, you know. You see Vader, and he's this badass, and you're like, Luke has no fucking chance, you
Yeah.
know. And that's incredibly cool watching Luke grow, you know. And then episode 5, he fights him, and then it's like, I am your father. And he's like, no! And then jumps into the fucking air duct or
Yeah.
whatever. And then episode 6, he comes back, and like the beginning, he shows up at Jabba's palace, and he's like, and Jabba's like, oh, who are you? And he's like, Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, bitch, and like takes off cloak, you know, and like, and just fucks shit up because now he's like a secured badass, you know.
Yeah.
And you follow the Han and Luke and Leia, and you love their characters and how they grow as people and like their relationship, and that's my brother.
Yeah.
And then Han's like, Luke's off training with a fucking dwarf in a swamp. You want my
Yeah.
dwarf in your swamp? You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's very hard to capture that in the new movies, and I hope I'm actually slightly excited about Solo, a Star Wars story,
but we'll see.
because
We'll probably talk about it when it comes out.
yeah, because I feel like it's got a lot more a chance to break the mold, so I can see why that's enjoyable for Rogue One. It's breaking the mold.
Yeah.
But that starts with characters you don't fucking care and they die before the end, you know. But this, you're giving characters you do care about, you know.
And
Donald
they can't die at the end.
Ooh, Donald Glover playing
Lando.
Lando is super exciting. I'm super hyped about that. I love Donald
Yeah.
Glover. I think he's just a great dude, super funny. People are like, that doesn't look like a young Han Solo. He doesn't look exactly like young
Yeah.
Harrison Ford. Like, what do you want? You know, I'm excited. No, they should CG his face on someone
Yeah,
for
that's
a
fucking-
movie. Like, Jesus
No.
Christ. I'm actually legitimately excited about it,
Yeah.
and
And maybe we'll get some real world building because he was
he's a
a
smuggler,
yeah.
and they go on adventures and shit, and you know, character building, and they're together, and how did they get the Millennium Falcon? It looks different because it's got like the cargo hold in the front, and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Yeah. So I hope it's some character building, world building, you know. But I'm
We'll see.
actually excited about that because they don't need the big good versus evil. I hope it'll
Yeah,
be
yeah.
more these two
small scale.
assholes getting in trouble
Yeah.
with some like gang leader, like kind of like in episode 7, Han's like there's like the rival gangs, you know, but they don't really get touched upon anymore.
Yeah,
He's
after
like,
that.
it's like, I've got your delivery, and they're like, this is the second time they've lied to us, and he's like, or like the 7th time, and he's like, he's like counting his fingers,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like, Chewie, what was the shit? Like, you know, like that's like showing some world there, and there's the guy who's Irish for some reason, also in the space.
Whatever.
Is there the Ireland
Yeah.
planet? That's an awful accent. For fuck's sake. I hope that this will be more world building, and it'll be these guys getting in trouble, and they steal from someone, and there's some gang guys, and they steal a ship. I think the only thing that's going to be jarring, or maybe also how Han meets Chewie. I don't know if that's going to be looked upon.
Maybe.
But I think the only thing that's going to be jarring is going to see the Millennium Falcon like all white on the
Yeah,
inside and
different,
like
yeah.
new and look clean and stuff because it's always looked kind of grimy.
Yeah.
Because it's been through some shit, and so I'm excited to see that. You know.
Yeah. Well, we can, you know, once the 9th movie comes out and once Han Solo comes out, we can come back talk about that and talk about. I mean, after those 2 movies come out, that's another chapter sort of in the Star Wars saga. You know, all these movies being made finished, so we can talk about what Disney has done so far and you know where they're gonna go.
Yeah. So I like the idea of the solo movies a lot.
Movies? They have multiple plans.
No. I didn't mean the Han Solo movies. I meant solo.
Oh, the
story
individually
movie.
okay.
Yeah. Because it kind of gives me that like Marvel Extended Universe vibe, you know. We've got 87 movies, and we're releasing a movie every
Yeah.
4 months. And have you seen Black Panther and Thor 87 and Iron Man 49 and the Avengers 36? You know, like, So I feel like all the episode movies are like all the Avengers kind of style. The all your characters. And this
Yeah.
is good versus evil, and it's the big battle, and like less of like a smaller like an A to B. You don't need 3 movies to get through this arc. It's one movie. It's a little arc. So I don't think if they don't jam too much into this, have it just a good old. I don't know if they'll make it like a bank robbery style, like robbery style, something like
I mean,
that.
it's supposed to be smugglers.
There's smugglers, they're con artists, they're doing some cool shit, So
We'll see.
I definitely hope it's a lot more world building. You see some Imperial stormtroopers,
Yeah.
because I don't think the stormtroopers will be seen as the bad guys. They're the government. This is the government. What you're really scared of is these guys you ripped off, in Jabba the Hutt.
Other smugglers that
Yeah.
you're fucking around with.
Yeah, and you have to smuggle it through some whatever stormtrooper outpost
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
Um,
That could be really, or they could go the alternate route, which is he's a smuggler who now needs to help save this planet from the Imperials, and if they go that route,
I'll be annoyed.
yeah, that would
I don't
suck.
want them to do that. I don't because they're not a part of the rebellion. Han Solo.
Yeah, they in the beginning of the 4th movie, he
Han
doesn't
Solo
want to
is
help.
not a part of the rebellion. He's like, yeah, whatever, kid, I'll help you out, And then he gets roped into this and then saves Leia, and then he's like,
So
fuck, I kind of care about
Yeah.
this dude, and whatever, fine, this is the plan, and then he falls in love with them. So
I guess
Yeah.
we'll see.
I hope it's. I have.
Comes out this year, right?
Yeah, it comes out. I think in just a couple months. I have high hopes.
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah,
Well, I guess we'll see when it comes out.
yeah.
I have to come back and talk about it.
So, what do you want to talk about next time? Should we tease it next time, or do we even know?
I don't know,
what we
dude.
wanna
Well,
do next
honestly, when you mentioned the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that made me think.
time?
No, I just wanted to talk about cinematic universes in general.
Talk about such a
Because we
fun-
have the DC universe and we have the Marvel. Oh God.
What about the dark cinematic universe?
The what?
Fuck, who's trying to do that? The guys who made the new Mummy. They're trying to make like a dark universe. They're doing like the Mummy and then like a Frankenstein and like I don't know if that's gonna get off the ground because the Mummy was such a catastrophic failure.
I mean, the originals were good.
No, but it was like the new one with Tom Cruise was like a catastrophic failure.
They made another one. I had no idea that even existed.
no, they're like remaking those.
Oh God,
There
that's
was like
horrible.
a Tom Cruise 2016 The Mummy, and it was dumb, and they'll want to do like a dark universe and like have like the monsters because they have like the Frankenstein and Mummy and Wolfman. I think they're making like an Invisible Man movie.
Great.
What are they gonna do? Hotel Transylvania?
Yeah.
Whatever? This is my dad. Yeah, like what is the plan?
I don't know.
They're gonna fight off aliens.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll just talk about. I guess that may change, but cinematic users in general. What are the good ones? What are the bad ones? And whether or not you like them. I have a great distaste for them.
Find out next time on
Unnamed podcast.
insert podcast name here. Yeah.
All right.
We'll call it
Thank you
good.
guys very much for tuning in. I'm
Yeah.
Ellis.
I'm Brian.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.